Hi, welcome to Miss Richardson's U.S. History 5-Minute Lectures. This information will be U.S. Notes 2.10, From Boom to Bust. It includes information that aligns with the second and third sections on your Unit 2 study guide. Remember, you control this lecture, so pause whenever you need to, write down any questions you have, and rewatch if you need. Always make sure you're using your study guide to help you take those notes and know what's important. Let's go ahead and get started. Throughout the 1920s, the American economy boomed. Employment was high, wages were high, stock prices were high, and everyone seemed to have extra money. People invested in the stock market, and they bought on credit, and they bought stocks on margin. They filled their bank accounts with money after buying luxuries. So these people had all kinds of money, all kinds of fun. Things seemed really, really good through the 20s. As stock prices rose in the 20s, more and more people bought stocks on margin. So they saw this as a way of becoming rich, and many became rich. So as you saw your neighbor become rich, you wanted to try it too. All of this actually came to an end in October of 1929. As time went on, there were fewer and fewer new customers to buy stocks, particularly on margin. So with fewer people buying the stocks, the prices dropped because demand had brought the prices high. A lot of the stocks had actually been falsely inflated prices due to the amount of margin buying. They seemed more like they were worth more than they actually were. So they couldn't sustain the high prices, and when they dropped very quickly, and they dropped significantly. In fact, on October 29th, 1929, the stock market plummeted. It lost between $10 and $15 billion in value on that one day. This day became known as Black Tuesday. It was a dark day for anyone who had investments in the stock market. Everyone who had money in the market lost money. Regardless of how much money you had in there, you were going to lose something. Some were able to pull their money out very early, so they didn't become bankrupt, but a lot of people lost everything. So due to the margin buying, many not only lost everything, they still owed brokers thousands of dollars. That meant not only were they broke, they remained in debt with no way to pay. So as the market was crashing, people actually rushed to the banks to withdraw their money that day on the October 29th because they needed to pay their margin loans and cash out of the stock market before it hit rock bottom. So due to the volume of withdrawals, the number of people who were trying to take money out of the banks actually started to run out of money. That meant they actually couldn't pay people, so they closed the doors to the people, essentially locking the money away from the people. Some banks did not even have the money available because the way the banks make money is they invest people's savings into the stock market. So that's how they can pay interest. So they also had lost in the market, and they did not have the money there to give the people the money they had originally deposited. Even banks with money were hit by the stock market crash. So because some banks were failing, people panicked and ran to their bank and wanted to take out all their money out so that they didn't lose it. So they were worried they'd lose their savings. This caused even more banks to run out of money and to fail. The cycle of bank runs and failures continued. And you can see here, like, bank failures increased dramatically over the next couple of years as people continued to have this distrust of banks. This marked the start of the Great Depression. The stock market crash is seen as the event that started the decade of depression, but it's not actually a cause of the depression. If low stock prices had been the only issue, the country would have recovered more quickly. But there were a lot of underlying causes that meant it lasted for over a decade. So we'll look at those causes in the next set of notes. So this is the end of U.S. Notes 2.10. I hope you learned something, and bring any of your questions to class with you.